Morning, everyone. If you look around, even if you see a total stranger, there is a connection. The reason you're here today, for one way or another, is you have something to do with one of us, or I'm sure about my mother, our mother. My sister Gloria told a little anecdote about when we first arrived in America in 1956. That was probably the lowest point of our life. But I want to share with you the very beginning of my mom's marrying our father. When she married my father, he was a laborer, but he graduated from high school and was working in Lolas in what we have known as the Mesa Dam. It's a water reservoir. Today it is popularly known as the Echo Park. But in order to work in that project, you must have a carabao and a cart. So my father, all the way from his hometown of Tarlac, rode a carabao and a cart for 21 days, a distance of over 200 miles, just to go to that little town. He was invited by his older brother and told him about the opportunity to work. And that's what he was doing. He was working, but because his brother was also a minister of the Yankee Church, which was mentioned by Pastor George, he met our mother through her father, who was also a Methodist minister, a Yemenite minister. They got married in 1934. But before that, after working at that dam, the construction of the dam, he was able to join the United States Navy. And it was very difficult to become a Navy from the Philippines, although the United States was recruiting 30 boys a month, or a year. Or 30, I don't know. They were recruiting 30 boys for some reason, just to make them stewardsmen in the U.S. Navy. And my father became one of them. So, after 4 years, he returned and married our mother. It was an engagement of over 4 years. But then, in 1941, my father was able to be stationed in the Philippines at Sandy Point. And he was aboard at a Navy submarine tender where the submarines would tie up to. And one of the submarines needed a stewardsman, and my father volunteered. At that time, my mother and I was 3 years old, were living in an apartment in Manila, in the town of Ermita, if you're familiar with Ermita. And my father would go to work riding the bus. Well, when he volunteered to be in one of the submarines because they needed one, that particular submarine, the USS Sargo, went to Manila to have an open house. And that one Sunday morning, when my dad was able to go home after working, he was able to be home. But that Sunday, he went back to his submarine to pick up his paycheck. So he asked my mom if he could take me, the 3-year-old boy, to his submarine. And my mother said, "No, don't take him, because I'm going to give you a bath." When my dad arrived at his submarine at the pier in Manila, this was December 8, 1941, the Japanese planes were coming, and it started bombing Manila. He had no chance to return or even tell us that he won't be back for a while. The minute he came aboard that submarine was pulling back, all back full. And I look back at this incident. What if my mom wasn't going to give me a bath? What if he was approaching the submarine and was backing down. Would he jump on board with me? Would he drop me? If he would me? These are the questions that I keep asking myself what would happen. Of course, you know by now that I am Quintin Romero Jr., the oldest of the 7 siblings. It was my wife who made an announcement last night that she loved her mother-in-law. That was my wife. And I didn't even have to tell her to say that. She really meant it. In my family, or in the Filipino culture, there's hierarchy in siblings. The first boy has a title. If you are the firstborn son, your title is called Kuya. I'll spell it so you can pronounce it. K-O-O-Y-U-H. Kuya. If you are a female and you are the firstborn, your title is U-H-T-E-H. Ate. And then the second son is Dico. That's Mario. Dico is spelled D-E-E-K-O-H. The second sister or the second sibling, the female, is called Diche. D-E-E-C-H-E. And that was the title of my mother because she had an older sister. Every one of our relatives who knew my mother called her Diche. That was the title. But my title is Kuya. I am the next in line. After we lay her to rest, it's me. I want to share with you the priorities of my mom. My mother played a lot of F words. She played with a lot of F words. So her first priority in life is faith. It didn't make any difference what church you go to. If you have faith, if you believe in God, and you follow the golden rule, you're in. Even though she grew up as the daughter of a Protestant minister, and she brought us all into Sunday school. We all grew up in the villages attending the Evangelical church there. We were Protestants, which was unusual in the Philippines. 80% of the population of the Philippines are Catholics. We Protestants are the minorities. You know, when they celebrate the fiesta, that is a Catholic festivity. But the whole town is involved. So whether you're Catholic or non-Catholic, you have to get involved. My mom was number one in her faith, in her blood. She leads us into all our daily needs in prayer. And you know, when I was planning to get married and I told her I was going to get married, I had to confess to her that my future wife is not a Protestant. She's Catholic. And you know what else was going on at that time? If you are not a Catholic and you're marrying a Catholic, you have to be one. And so they twisted my hand. They said, oh, you have to be a Catholic to marry your wife. And so I did. But you know, I never heard a single remark from my mother saying, why are you marrying a Catholic? She never said anything. And I think most of us are married to Catholics. Nobody's married to Catholic, but you know what? She's very good. She got her husband to be Protestant. Hey, I salute you, bro. And then, of course, Cesar married Catholic. And our youngest brother, Michael, oh, he married a Fitzgerald. Irish Catholic. So, for her, faith is number one. The second F, we all should know that. That's family. That's right. Family is one of the most important thing in her life. She got us all this together. You know, many years ago, my brother Cesar said, our family should have a reunion. He learned it from one of his students because he was a teacher. And so we planned this. It was us then that started planning it. Now, of course, the people who used to call Lilliputians are now planning it. Or beyond that now. We've been holding reunions every 4 years. And it is getting more and more. The connections, we are getting bigger and bigger. Out of the 7 siblings who are all married, we all have children. And then, of course, our wonderful cousins in Huntington Beach, because of their father, who was a favorite nephew of my father, are members of our reunion. And now we have other people that are joining us. My children's in-laws are here. They're here because they blended in with us. This is the thing that my mom instilled in us, is the love of family. The third F is actually finances. She was always on us as far as getting our education and being a citizen of this country, contributing to the economy of America, not relying on handouts. We never received a single penny of welfare, even though we were hurting. Gloria mentioned that. That is absolutely true. So finances is important because we need money. You know, whoever said money is not everything is a fool. Money is everything. We need money. Then, you know, my wife and I would travel. We travel a lot nowadays because we're both retired. And the 3 things that has to be met when you're traveling, anywhere in the world, is you must have money, energy, and time met. But when we're starting out in life, like where we were, money wasn't easy. If you're starting out as a young person today, you have the energy and you have the time, but you don't have very much money. When you finish college, you get a good job. Now you're working, now you have money. Now and you still have a lot of energy, but you don't have much time because you have to work. Now, for all this like me, I retired. So now I have some money. I have time. That's all I got, really, time. But my energy now is questionable. So you have to have those NECs. Now let's go back to the F words. The last F that my mom's priority in life is fun. We have to have fun. And that is probably the secret of her long life. There's a saying, or somebody said, that in our life, we really cannot control the length. But we can do something with the depth and the width. That's what our mother did. She was blessed with a long life, but she did something very well with the depth and the width of her life.